Hello. Good morning. I've been uh I've been trying to get my Microsoft 2019 home office and student back since I got my even since I got this laptop computer that I'm trying from Costco. But every time I try to upload it, every time I download it, and I have a package on there now, but it's 365 and they keep asking me for money when I paid for Office, straight Office in around 2019 or 2020 when I got my new computer. I got the desktop computer. And so I thought maybe I'll dial support and maybe we'll go over some headlines if I get on headlines about saving the world if they put me on hold. I got to check to see what my water timing is. See, I got my irrigation going at 10:15 a.m. I'm letting that one go till 11. I'm going to set my timer here. Alarm. Here's one that's close. 10:15. Oh, no, it started at 10:15, so I got it at 11:15. Okay, that's going to be an hour. And I got to talk to my stereo. The sound is much better coming from a stereo. So I got 10:15. I do have some. Let's see, 10:15. I got 20 some minutes. Maybe that's enough for. Maybe that's all the time Microsoft will waste for me today. Home user. Can't download my Microsoft 2019 Office package. Technical support. Yes. CO or video? Yes. CO or VO?
/VO from your PC.
I don't know if that's a CO or a VO, but I'll try. So they won't. Okay. That was the only lead I had from looking online already. Was calling this number. The way they were rewriting me, I couldn't even get to the community to ask a question. I had already tried that. It's just one endless runaround, just trying to get the computer to work properly and get my programs. It's the only program I have. I don't have any other program. This is all I have is an Office package, and they won't let me have that. AKA Mount Little Type. What? It's blinking up there. Why do you have to mouse it up there too when it's already up there blinking? Is it CO? It might be CO. Why do I have to keep putting this in too? Why don't they save it and prompt me to save it? I was doing my password. Now they won't let me in my account. That's my password. I don't have any other password. I always click this and they don't keep me signed in anyway. You don't have access to this. Your sign-in was successful, but you don't have permission to access this resource. I can't sign in. Sign in and sign in with a different account. I don't have another account. They won't let me have my Microsoft package. Microsoft sign in denied. Wrote, I didn't highlight what I already had there, but they wrote over it anyway. So they won't let me sign in. So what am I supposed to do now? Oh, they won't let me flag it either. Something went wrong. Tried to flag this. Tried to flag. forced me to create, when I got my computer back up and running, they forced me to create another password because they wouldn't take this one. They forced me to create a new one. It was just like you just had to create a new one. There was no choice. Even though I already had an account. So did I? But this one has been working for everything else. So I don't know what this could possibly mean. They're stopping me from using my Microsoft package. Let's just try this. Let's try a different password. Let's see, I'll have to for this for a while. There's no place to sign out. It says sign out. Sign out with a different account. Sign out and sign in with a different account. And there's no place to even sign out. Oh my God, what assholes. This is murderous. This is absolutely murderous. I'm going to just try the Microsoft support community one more time. They wouldn't let me get to a place where I can enter a new, ask a question. Try to sign in. I found an account you can use. So they kept me sign in that. Oh, now that I'm online, they kept me sign in. It's downloading. My purchased version of Office 2019 is downloading as 365. What do I do? This is from orders. Windows 10. Windows 10. Actually, should be enough. I don't know what else to put in there. They don't need to know my computer model or anything like that for a question like this. My purchase version of Office 2019 is downloading as 365. What do I do? This is from orders. This is in orders, I should say. This is in my, or I'm trying this from my order history. Order history. Being careful not to choose 365. The 365 trial. I keep getting it. That's what shows up when you look in the details from the Word. That's what is listed in the Word account info. And you keep asking for payment. What do I do? I'm trying this from my order history. Being careful, B-E-I-N-G, begin careful. Being careful not to choose the 365 trial, T-R-I-A-L, but I keep getting 365 trial anyway. Anyway, that's what is listed in the Word account info, and you keep asking me for payment as well. Okay, now I'm going to copy this. Microsoft sign in. Microsoft directions. But I tried using I have a key code. I have a key code, but couldn't find any success or a way to download it. This is a nightmare. They want it to look like I'm asking them for charity, is what it is. I've never asked them for charity for anything. They want it to look like I'm asking for charity. This is probably some of the stuff they show them. Some of the statistics they show the government on how people push for charity. Community center products. I mean products. Select most appropriate product and topics below to help you post. Your post be seen by the right community experts. Community center. News, volunteer. Gaming in box. 365 and 365 in office. It's the whole thing. Access. Install, redeem, install, redeem, activate. Version, remove. Topics. Windows and splits. Notify me when someone responds. And the downbeat goes on from Microsoft. Of course, I wonder if everybody has this many problems for something this simple. And this is every time I do a fresh start on my computer, they always download 365 when I try to get it. Even though I'm pressing on 2019 Home and Office. I'm careful not to do 365. It's on there too. It's just a total nightmare. I wish computers never existed. I really wish we could go back to something that's doable for everybody. What do I do? No, this is my name. You can't even find where you posted your questions. Now I'm going to copy this. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it with this copying this address, because I can't even find where my questions are. My Microsoft account, my profile. You click over here on your picture. It should be here somewhere. My questions, my community, my support group, something. There's nothing. There's no way to even get to where your questions are once you do ask a question. So you have to rely on somebody responding and then keeping their response, or hopefully keeping this address with the question will be enough this time. Might be enough this time, but then the next time they might do something to the address so you can't get to it using the address. Ask a new question. There's no place on here for me to look at my other questions. 0 people have the same question. What's new? Business, Microsoft Store developer, education company. Nothing down here is personal, as a way for you to connect to your. My name is Suzanne Bonjour Show. Let's write that down. Maybe that's the way you find it. Let's see what happens when I press on my own name. Oh, my water's ready to change. Oh my God. Okay, so if I could get to this, if I could get to my name somehow, but there's no place to punch in a name, maybe in search I'll be able to find it. I got to change my irrigation, so I'll be back in just about 2 minutes. So I was going over the headlines. We're going to switch now to. I'm not doing any more computer stuff because that's all I can handle for one day. It's an ongoing thing, and it's like a mountain of torture that more pain and anguish keeps just building on top of it. It's like, the only history I have with Microsoft in dealing with them, in dealing with issues, it's all bad. Very few things get resolved easily, and there shouldn't be that much to begin with. Computers have been around for too long, and I think this is just part of how they use algorithms to pinpoint people that aren't fascists. So this is now bleeding into my Saving the World blog and my Saving the World episodes. Because I think this is just part of how algorithms pinpoint specific people and give you the runaround. The algorithms actually dictate what happens on the computer and if you'll find your answers or not in a reasonable amount of time. I never ever want to get a robot because it would be like having a pure male chauvinist pig in your house, a pure what do you call it? Extremist male centrist in your home. Of the most intelligent type too. So they know what they can get away with, and they exploit every avenue. Microsoft probably leads the pack. They were, one of the first computer companies. So this is all programmed into their algorithms. Our current DNA of the overemphasis of the male libido and territorialism, which is male centrism, which is paternalism, which is the patriarchy, which is fascism, because it's just all about war. It's all about war, really. Because the focus, and this is all programmed into these algorithms that people have been writing programs for since forever. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be changed overnight, just like that. To be fair to people, to really take all encumbrances into consideration when you're giving people the runaround. I mean, who really should be getting the runaround? Shouldn't criminals be getting the runaround instead of people that spend less money? If we didn't get the runaround so much and the criminals got the runaround, then we'd be spending more money. So earlier, I was looking at, here I'm going to run my scan. Earlier, I was looking at Wall Street, the Wall Street Journal. Let's see, do I want to say this one or this one? I don't say this one. I say this one. See, they won't even let me grab the file half the time. It's another thing. I have to click too many times constantly. Let's see. So I was looking at the Wall Street Journal earlier, and of course, the Israeli war is staying front and center. It's I don't know if it's warranted how much more advertisement they're giving Israel over Ukraine. I don't know if that's racism. I kind of think it is. But they've got this lady on here now that was held hostage by Hamas. And this morning I was just thinking, oh my God, she could pass for me 20 years from now, possibly. So it's it's kind of scary. I don't know if it's good for me or bad for me, because if you're a warmonger, it might be good for me. But then again, 20 years from now, when they blame this lady for the PR that got us into a world war that ruined so many people's lives and crushed the United States, they're probably going to kill me right when I'm just getting started. Is the way it looks. From the way things are looking. By the way, I just want to mention I'm open to donations because I'm spending. Last year, I spent over $3,000 on sewage fees for my outdoor watering because my township made a crime a law, made a crime legal by making it a law, by charging us a sewage fee for water that we use to water our gardens. So a lot of people have poles, but that's still no reason to charge them a tax, unless the pole somehow is a burden. But all my water is a burden on society, which they are because of the extra chemicals. But all my water goes into my trees. I only use about 1,000 gallons a month for my personal indoor usage. And they won't let me purchase a deduct meter. So all this money, and I'm not going to have enough money to even pay my taxes if I want to keep my garden. And I really wanted to do a garden show. I was going to try to get, I'm not going to be able to afford this laptop either. Definitely not. Not without some kind of contribution. But I was hoping to get because I have to wear a full face mask when I do my garden work. And I was hoping to find one or find a Go camera that has something that I could put on the inside of the mask so you can hear me talking. Otherwise, it's going to be muffled and it's just going to be irritating. You could make it out probably, but it's going to be irritating to the audience to hear a muffled voice the whole time I'm outside doing my show, because this takes too much time doing this way. I think if I had the show in the garden and I could inspire maybe some disabled people that can't work a regular job to do gardening, that would really be good, because they could see someone that's totally disabled can still do stuff in the yard. And in fact, it is my physical therapy. I should really be able to claim the sewage fee as my physical therapy for my SNAP benefits. And I don't have anything to write it off against, so it should be write-offable as well as a business expense, because basically I'm farming oxygen. I need fresh air, and I need to be surrounded by life instead of death, instead of bullies, which are death, instead of our cultural DNA of the overemphasis of the male libido and territorialism, which is death and war. I need to surround myself with life so I can have the will to keep living, because life is all I live for. It's just life itself that I live for. It's just life. It's always just been life. The nature has always been my love, and it's what keeps me going. And I can't exist. I have to have something. I don't have children. I don't have any family that really love me, and I have to have something. And I think my trees do love me to a degree. So this $400 a month should be going into paying my other taxes and expenses. So I really need some kind of support from somewhere. And that's another reason why I'm just trying to do as many videos as possible too. So maybe I could get paid for doing my live videos from YouTube. But this isn't easy either. I'd rather do it outside. I'm outside. That's where I want to be. I'm not spending as much time now tweeting or making comments on YouTube because it just takes too much time. I need to be outside. There's too much watering to do. even though I have irrigation on almost everything except the trees that are like in the center of grassy areas. I have irrigation everywhere. That plastic stuff that I installed myself, the drip tubing. You still have to water the area because the surface roots make a big difference. I mean, stuff will get really crappy if you don't keep those surface roots moist, even the bigger trees. They just start getting browner in the summer. Even my large oak tree that we planted in about 1990, which, it's probably one of the tallest trees in the neighborhood now. So even that one gets dried out. It needs water. It can't get everything from underground. But a lot of the trees that I planted, because of my disability, and I couldn't get help planting my yard to plant, even though I requested it from one of my brothers, George, back in 2003. I asked him to help me plan my yard. I said, would you come and visit and help me plan my yard? He was already done planting all his trees. I really didn't know what to do. So I just kept going with what I was doing. So now I ended up with all these. I have a ton of ornamental trees. And no, of course they're smaller, so they're going to die easier. And my neighbors killed a bunch of my other trees, and I'll show you that if I ever get my Go camera and I can do live outside. But this worries me, the look of this woman. I'm worried they're going to kill me 20 years from now because, she's supposed to be dead. We thought she was dead. This was all an act. Let's kill her. She started this war that made us all suffer so bad. Oh my God. So this is just part of the three-ring circus to me. Maybe this woman really did have a tough time, but I've been in Eliza's Schlitz, I call it, for 62 years. I've been in a virtual death camp since I could remember. The psycho-Razzi have always been there, torturing me. Basically, they're suckling on my emaciated tits, is what it comes down to. I can't gain weight. I'm 20 pounds underweight. So this woman, they're getting the war going in the Middle East again, when we really should be addressing. And I will not vote for anybody. They won't even address the overpopulation. How could you not address overpopulation? That's the thing that would cut the pollution right away as soon as people started dying and the population didn't increase. The pollution would start decreasing right away. Why would you not address that issue? We should probably have about 500 million people globally, worldwide. I don't know if that will ever be possible, but we're struggling now for resources. In the Middle East, these people are fighting over land, and that's because of the population size. If their population was a size that could be supported by the land they have there, which they used to be able to do, even though they fought anyway, the wars could still be assuaged by creating sanctions on trade. What's the big deal? Even with Israel, if we have to, we should have sanctions against Israel, and we should have sanctions against all countries, and other countries should have sanctions against us now for not lowering our population. Now, maybe we're not the ones that should lower our populations right away, because we have to think about how big China and all the Asian populations, how big they are, and what would happen if there was a war against them. We have to keep raising our population because theirs are so big. So the onus in this situation is China. And why don't they address that instead of this bull that they keep doing? No, I'm not going to turn Windows back up on. when I have OneDrive, they put stuff on my desktop that I don't want, and God knows what else they do. And they just want to see everything about your life. And the algorithms are obviously not on my side. So no, I don't want anything to do with OneDrive. Okay, so in the Middle East here, we should be sanctioning that everybody in the Middle East, China, India, and everybody, because they're not decreasing their population. And we have to keep growing ours because we don't know what they'll do if we don't. And now what's going to happen with the Middle East, they keep importing immigrants, which is going to make it easy for them to overrun our current system with a system that's more like the Asian system, and Muslims and whoever else, like it was the old Persian Empire that came up into Europe, and a lot of that's still left in Spain, and they helped make Italy the color of people that it is, and Spain and France, and even England is largely, people look like they're more Southern. I mean, the Queen definitely looked Jewish to me. So I probably looked Jewish to a lot of people. A lot of people thought I looked Italian. One younger boy than myself used to call me Indian girl, which is more accurate because my grandmother was Caucasus, and my dad, she looked Indian. If you ever saw her confirmation picture, which I can't find, the psycho Rotzi seemed to have magicianed that out of my picture history, out of my pictures completely. Didn't even have a chance to put it in the computer because I kind of like that. She looked Indian, yet my grandfather had no issue with it when he married her, and he's a Slovak, and he had light blue or grayish eyes, and he looked more German than anything. But that didn't bother him. She was short. She was shorter than me. She was only 4'11". He was 6 foot or 6'1". And I like that. And I like the fact that my grandfather was kind of ahead of his time in that respect. He didn't discriminate. He had a bar called the Bencho's Aurora Hotel, and he just wanted people to have a good time. That was all. So that's why I wanted to be a comedian. Now I feel like there's so many fascist pigs in the world. How can you be a comedian without helping a fascist pig? So I don't even care about that anymore, about being a comedian. So I want to get things right first. And I want my health first, of course. So I got to finish my breakfast here. We're just going to keep having wars because resources, now it's back to the old reason like it was in Europe. Resources are getting too sparse, but before the three-field system of farming even, and feudalism. The three-field system of farming alone was enough to stop wars at the population levels that existed back then. Well, maybe not in China and India. That I'm not sure about. But in the rest of the world, the three-field system of farming was enough. So then we got the Industrial Revolution, right? That made it even easier. And the communication after the Industrial Revolution increased. The communication alone was a communication revolution. And then the technological revolution with computers. All this stuff made it possible for wars to end completely because resources and transportation revolution, of course, quicker speeds around of everything. That's even a separate revolution. All that stuff made wars, even each one by itself could have probably prevented a war if that one was the first one that we developed. The wars are about keeping male centrism firmly in place and avoiding doing away with all slavery around the globe. And now the populations are so big, can you really change things until you get the population down? Because there's so many criminals and so many people that do things illegally and get around government taxes, white collar and blue collar mobsters alike. They get around paying taxes and they just steal from poor people. How much freedom can you give them? But that could be regulated too. Switching into my addressing, instilling universal affirmative action and having it address all these issues, and using the algorithms to create non-fascists, to create affirmative action, universal global health and welfare minded people instead of the fascists that the billionaires are now creating with the current way they're using the algorithms, would, belay the effect that helping more people would have. And the people you would be helping would probably be the honest people anyway. Because right now, as it stands, they're helping all the thieves in the world. My sister, as I was telling my family that I was getting sicker and sicker when I was completing my education, I was just getting weaker and weaker. And I literally graduated. Even though I graduated summa cum laude and valedictorian, it was still by the skin of my teeth because health-wise, because my body collapsed completely 2 years later after I graduated. And I was telling people this the whole time. Even my therapist wouldn't help me get on disability in 1995, which might have been enough to offset my body totally crashing in 1998. She said I wasn't depressed. When meanwhile, she gave me this pamphlet on depression. It's like a big advertisement thing that she must have got with some free medication or something. It looks like something you get from a doctor or you'd see in a doctor's office. Well, she has a doctorate in social work. She wouldn't even be honest and say that I was depressed. She was saying that I was getting better as I was getting worse. My physical disability was because I couldn't get on the Spartan diet that I require to survive and work at the same time, a job that's very stressful. And it turns out to be that pollution is a large part of it. So how am I going to wear this face mask while I'm working, sitting at a desk? That face mask is at least twice as hard to wear inside and sitting down because of the way, your diaphragm gets kind of crunched just sitting, even if you're sitting up straight. It's like twice as hard to wear that face mask. So I wouldn't really be able to wear that where I worked, and I can't handle the pollution. I have to have all these air cleaners going in my house just to not have diarrhea. It's either that or I have to dehydrate so badly while I'm eating that it doesn't come out at all. I have to pick it out. I have to literally pick it out every time I go. This way, at least I don't have to pick my bum every day. I started, I got the air cleaners. I increased them dramatically. I think it's about, I can't remember now if it's 2 full years that I've had this many. I think it's about 2 full years that I had enough air cleaners to stop the diarrhea. That's just 2 years. And it was only just since like about 4 or 5 months ago that I was able to increase my fruit, because fruit has to go first. I don't do desserts. The snack I make that I consider, I call a dessert, but technically it's not a dessert because it doesn't have any sugar in it, is all sugar free. But I do put bananas. I make banana nut cake, and I was making chocolate, but I'm not eating the chocolate cake anymore because of all the which one is it? It's in the chocolate. One of the heavy metals is in the chocolate. The one that begins with a C, I think. But I am able to I do one, I call that a dessert, but it has absolutely no sugar in it. And I made that strawberry cake my mother taught me how to make. I got the banana nut from her old Duncan Hines, her old Betty Crocker book, but she taught us how to make the strawberry cake. It's like you just make a white cake, you poke holes in it, you put strawberry in and cherry jello on that, and then you just put. She used to use that stuff that it's like Cool Whip, but you have to mix it up by hand. Dream Whip, I think it was called back then. I don't know if they even still have Dream Whip. So maybe that's why that might be a little better than Cool Whip. So, and Cool Whip. And I used the sugar-free Cool Whip. So it was just like since like 5 months ago that I've been able to eat fruit. I was just like able to eat about up until about 5 months ago, I was able to eat about maybe 2 ounces of fruit. And now I'm eating more than 2 pieces of fruit. I mean, I have a whole banana, the dates, the Majol dates that they have at Costco. This batch is kind of dry, but I was eating a date but first, after I'm done getting my shower and everything at the end of the day, and it has to be at the end of the day. I can't even eat it during the day because it'll just start getting me too excited, and I'll just get diarrhea from it. So maybe later I'll be able to eat some fruit during the day. Maybe in a couple of years I'll try that. But I have to wait till the end of the day. I get my shower, I come down and eat my last meals. I can't even eat much carb during the day at this point. I can only have 2 carbohydrates, which is like 1 piece of that. What's that? That whole wheat bread that Costco has. That's only 1 piece of that bread, or like 70 grams of noodles. That's all I can have in carbohydrates during the day, besides my vegetables, because vegetables take up part of your carbohydrates too. So at the end of the day, I make protein milk, and I make it like make it real thick so it doesn't use up too much of my water allotment. I make a protein, the protein milk that you make, I just make that up. I put that in the freezer so it comes out like a pudding then. And I put the fruit on top of that. I put like at least 1 piece of fruit, maybe more. It might count as more than 1 piece of fruit. I haven't weighed it yet, and I'm not going to because I just kind of fill the container to a certain level. And I put some sugar-free Cool Whip on top of that. And I kind of call that dessert, but it's really my evening snack, my first evening snack. And this just happened this year that I was able to eat this much without consequences at the end of the day. And then I have my carbohydrates. Then I have a cereal that you would normally have at breakfast. I have a granola. And on that, that's where I put the banana. And I put the date there too. And I add some nuts and some soy milk. And I've used very little milk though on that too. So I don't go over my milk allotment because I still want to have a pop, right? So then I have a snack, a real snack. I have some chips, and I usually have a plain pretzel along with, I have to have 2. I tried going with only 1 of these, but I have to have, for some reason, God is making me have a double snack, probably because I need snacks, a lot of snacking my entire existence. So I have like a chip. Right now I have like a big variety of snacks at one time, and I what do you call that? I cycle them, a different one each day. I got some flavored pretzels, like cheesy pretzels, garlic and onion pretzels. A new chip that Costco got that's supposed to be sweet pepper, but it's still hot. And I'd say those mungo onions, mungos, those onion rings. And so I have like 1 of them plus the plain pretzel. Except on the flavored pretzel day right now, I'm having the cheesy pretzel and the garlic pretzel together because that's like a nice combination. Other times I just have the plain pretzel with 1 of them other fatty ones. The plain pretzels are hardly any fat at all. And then in the morning, if I have to go out, see, in hypoglycemics, you don't store carbohydrates. You know how they tell you to carb up at night for runners? Well, our carbohydrates go right into fat. They get processed. In hypoglycemia, the form that it's in gets converted into fat so fast. That's why you can't do a lot of sugar. Otherwise, you'll just keep gaining weight. And I tried being a heavier weight just to gain muscle, and then and through that muscle have some place to store carbohydrates, because the carbohydrates somebody said somewhere that the carbohydrates are stored right in your muscle. So runners are supposed to carb up at night. Maybe I'm headed toward running again, and that's why I got maneuvered into doing this at night, eating all my carbs at night. But I can't eat them during the day, so it was the only other time to try. But it's still, something's maneuvering me to do this. The powers that be could have let me eat them during the day, but they maneuvered me into evening, and so that's what I'm doing. And it's kind of nice, to watch your evening programs and be able to munch on some snacks at the same time, instead of having to make a sandwich, which takes too long to make anyway. It takes 20 minutes to a half hour to make a sandwich, a decent sandwich, a sandwich that's a meal and has to be complete. It takes time to make. And I eat 3 full suppers. Like today, my first one's a full supper, my second meal is a full supper, and my third meal is a full supper. And I usually eat fish last. I have fish every day. And that's usually at the end of the day, like, depends, it varies. But it could be anywhere from 7:30 to 10 o'clock at night. So, and I might not start getting my snacks until 1 or 2:30 in the morning, depending on the watering. And today's going to be a big watering day, which is why I'm going to sign out now. I hope this helps you help save the world. Disabled people are a part of this equation. We need incomes too. We're guinea pigs. We are your time machine. The diagnostic value they get from us beginning at birth. Everybody's diagnostic value doesn't begin at birth as much as it does for people that are congenitally disabled. And we are knocked out of getting any opportunity at all. Yet we still have to contribute by being guinea pigs. So part of universal affirmative action would be, making sure that disabled people like me have a life as well, and can go live like this, because I'm not going to be able to go live like this in a couple months, because I borrowed this. I'm trying this computer from Costco, and if I don't get donations, I'm not going to be able to keep it, because my sewage bill, not just because my sewage bill is so high, because I need that money to pay my taxes, but because I need another source of income. I'm hoping if I do enough videos on YouTube, maybe I can get an income from that, at least enough to start paying my sewage bills at first. But I'll have to use my webcam. I do have a webcam, but it's really lousy. The visual is really lousy. And I know people probably aren't even going to watch it, but I'll make them anyway with the webcam. But just to see if I can get an income from YouTube. But that's about all I'll be able to do. And I'm going to sign out now. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let's see if I can get this. There's the end stream here. These pads are still difficult to use. So end. Goodbye.